valves up there.
Okay, which one then? The front one?
The one in front of the steam dome, there's two of them. One's an original and the other is supplied. I guess we have to purchase it through the state, if they're okay.
Well, it's just got to be a certified valve.
Yes, we have to have paperwork on it.
Okay.
And so we like to use the original, and the other one is a backup, which is okay with the inspection.
Okay.
A lot of the reason they do that is older valves are able to release pressure multiple times, whereas the new ones,
They wear out quick.
they wear out quick and they're expensive to work on it, so that's why we use an older original one.
Okay.
They
So-
just last longer.
So the original one will probably blow off before the inspector one?
That's the way it's set.
Yep,
Okay.
we set them that way.
So they're adjustable too?
The old one is adjustable.
The old-
The
okay.
new one is set and there's a lead seal up on top of there that if we take that apart, they would know, because the integrity
it's
of that lead
tamper-proof.
seal is gone.
Okay. So the new ones are tamper-proof, and the old one you could adjust so that it goes off before the new
Yeah,
one.
just a little before.
Yep. So if you got into a situation where you really overfired it, both of them would open up.
Yeah, theoretically, yeah.
Okay.
They're designed to take everything this boiler can put out on an overpressure situation.
Okay.
So
They're rated on your input of your fire and that kind of stuff. That's all determined during the inspections of how much surface area you have for heating and all that. It's all
Okay.
calculated into that.
calculated by the state boiler inspector.
Okay. So as a 40 horsepower, is that the like the drawbar rating or the?
Sorry.
That's okay. Safety is important. Roger's going to check things out, make sure that everything's the way it's supposed to be. You got to keep an eye on these.
I think safety, that's what he's concerned about.
Right.
And it's okay that we let that blow off, but we don't want to overdo it. You know, there's a lot of guys that it just kind of shows a little bit of, I don't necessarily want to say carelessness, but lack of planning and things like that. When you have one of those that goes off constantly, it makes other guys wonder what's going on over there. So we try to just do it once a day so we know what's working and keep it at that.
Right. So Roger's injecting more water now?
Yep, and that way, when you inject water into the boiler, it will cool it down and bring the pressure down and prevent that safety from lifting. And that's just, it's all good management is what it is. You just got to be constantly aware. You know, you know, we're standing here trying to visit and stuff, and there's not always a lot of time with these things. You really have to be paying attention and on top of your game with them. Things change very quickly.
Right, once you start a fire, you can't just, it doesn't go out immediately.
Yeah, probably a lot of the reason for that, getting close to the relief valve pressure, has a lot to do with us having to move. You know, that was an unplanned event. We were in the way of another plow coming down the field, had to move. You get that draft going again, it warms everything back up, and then your pressure starts rising. And so that's probably what happened there.
Okay. You want to tell me about the clutch system?
Absolutely. Okay, on a lot of these steam tractors, they had a clutch system where there would be some wood blocks that would rub on the inside of this, more in here. And when you wanted to go somewhere, you pull the lever and those wood blocks would expand and grab onto the rim of that, inside rim of that flywheel. And that would turn all the gears and make the engine move. The Avery is a little bit unique here. We've got, look inside of here. There's a setup there that will slide. There's a hand wheel up by the operator's platform. Let me turn this just a little bit. Maybe I can. Yeah, I can. All right. You get everything lined up. Those dogs will slide together, and then you're in gear. All the gears that drive the wheels and everything are engaged.
Okay.
So there's, you know, every engine is unique and different in how they did things.
So this is an absolute positive engagement. There's no chance of slippage.
There's no slipping here. Reeves
Okay.
also had something that was a little bit different, but it was pinned. it had 2 pins that would lock into
Okay.
to the gears.
Because I've seen some case guys have to stop while they're plowing and tighten up a clutch.
Yep,
Sure.
spin them out.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of unique things on different engines. Different builders did different things. Not necessarily one is better than the other. I mean, they all have good and bad things. This one is a little bit of a pain to get locked in. So, you know, if you have to do a lot of movements with this machine, it gets to be a lot of turning on that hand wheel, and it's not always lined up either. So sometimes somebody has to come down here and physically move this to get it lined up with those 2 docks.
Right.
Yeah, you can run the engine very, very slow, which is extremely difficult to do to get them to line up and lock in. Then you can continue engaging them. But on something this old and this rare, we don't want to take any chances on anything happening or breaking any parts, so we just do it by hand.
Right. You know, 1911, we're at what, 112 years old? 111. 111 years old, and you said rare. How many of these are left? Do you know?
40 horse, I don't know. There isn't a lot
I
that are
think-
operating engines.
I think there's one in Rolog, and as far as I know, there could probably be more, but I don't know. That's the only one I personally know of.
Right. I mean, Avery undermounts in general, I think I've seen 3.
Yes.
And I think there might be more of the smaller ones. I believe they were 30 horse engines. I see a few of them in different pictures and stuff like that.
Okay.
I do have a lot of old friends. Most of them are gone, but they used to talk about the Avery, and some swore by them, and some says, well, no, they're prone to be operating in the dirt and in dusty conditions. You're down here in the dust, so, and they wore their parts quicker. And
Okay.
the other engines with the engines up on the top side. So that was their idea.
That's kind of what we said earlier with different manufacturers, different ideas, different designs, you know, and all of those things had unique things to them, that some were good and some were bad. It's all a trade-off.
Yep.
Right.
Like this is somewhat easy to work around and look at things and oil,
Right.
whereas if you've got to climb on top of a 300 or 400 degree boiler to do some of that, it's not pleasant, you know.
Right. I could see during the middle of the day, maintenance on this would be quite a bit easier from ground level.
Yes.
Yep. I guess one other unique thing that I do know about this boiler that some folks listening might be interested in is this boiler is actually called a keyhole boiler.
Keyhole?
Keyhole boiler.
Okay.
If you look at the design here, it goes up and then it starts to round. And that's what they call a keyhole boiler. Not all of them were designed that way.
Oh, okay. So instead of just going straight up and being circular at the top,
Yep.
it widens out.
Yep.
Right at the barrel there.
I don't know if I can point out anything else. I think we covered everything fairly well. If we had a live audience, we could bring them on and they could ask questions.
Yes.
Maybe next time.
Yeah.